اپڈیٹ کرتے ہیں آپ کو. اقوام متحدہ جنرل اسمبلی کا اجلاس اس وقت جاری ہے اور وزیر اعظم شہباز شریف یہاں پہنچ چکے ہیں اور انہیں خطاب کی دعوت دے دی گئی ہے. وزیر اعظم شہباز شریف مسئلہ کشمیر، فلسطین اور دیگر عالمی اہمیت کے مسائل سے
بسم اللہ الرحمن الرحیم. Mr. President, heads of state and government, excellencies, delegates, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and a very good morning. Qala ya abati inni raitu ahda ashara kawkaban wa shamsa wal qamar.
And he said, "Oh my father, I have seen
Qala ya
11
bunayya
planets
la
and the sun
taqsus
and moon
ru'yaka ila
bow to me."
ikhwatik
He said,
فَيَكِيدُ
"Oh son,
لَكَ
do
كَيْدًا
not tell your story
إِنَّ
to
الشَّيْطَانَ
your
لِلْإِنسَانِ
brothers. They will devise a
عَدُوٌّ
scheme
مُبِينٌ."
for you. The
صدق اللہ
devil
مولانا العظیم.
is the enemy
Mr.
of
President,
humans.
it's a matter of great honor for me to address the United Nations General Assembly for the second time as the Prime Minister of a country that has always been a proactive member of the UN Assembly. I would like to congratulate you and wish you all the success, Mr. President, on your election as the President of the 79th session of the UN General Assembly. I would also like to appreciate the efforts of Ambassador Dennis Francis for his skillful stewardship of the 78th session of the UNGA. Mr. President, the father of our nation, Quaid-e-Azam Muhammad Ali Jinnah, declared in 1947 that we stand by the United Nations Charter and will gladly make our full contribution to peace and prosperity of the world. Pakistan has stood by this commitment unwaveringly. Today, we are facing most daunting challenges to the world order. Israel's genocidal war in Gaza, a dangerous conflict in Ukraine, destructive conflicts across Africa and Asia, rising geopolitical tensions, resurging terrorism, galloping poverty, stifling debt, and the mounting impact of climate change, we feel the chill of a new world order. In response to these challenges, our Secretary General Antonio Guterres called for the Summit of the Future. It led to the adoption of the 54 actions on development, peace and security, technology and global governance in the Pact of the Future. Mr. President, today I stand before you to express the searing pain and anguish of the people of Pakistan at the plight of the people of Gaza. Our heart bleeds as we witness the tragedy unfolding in the Holy Land, a tragedy that shakes the very conscience of humanity and the foundation of this institution. Mr. President, can we, as human beings, remain silent while children lie buried under the rubble of their shattered homes? Can we turn a blind eye to mothers cradling the lifeless bodies of the children? This is not just a conflict. This is systematic slaughter of innocent people of Palestine. Ladies and gentlemen, an assault on the very essence of human life and dignity. The blood of Gaza's children stains the hands of not just the oppressors, but also those who are complicit in prolonging this cruel conflict. When we ignore their endless suffering, we diminish our humanity. It is not enough to condemn, Mr. President. We must act now and demand an immediate end to this bloodshed. We must remember we must remember that the blood and sacrifice of the innocent Palestinians will never go waste. We must worry about their plight and difficulties and stand by them. We must work for a durable peace through the two-state nation. We must seek a viable, secure, contiguous and sovereign state of Palestine based on the pre-1967 borders with Al-Quds al-Sharif as its eternal capital, and to advance the goals these goals, Palestine must also be immediately admitted as a full member of the United Nations. Mr. President, in a span of a few days, Israel's unrelenting bombing of Lebanon has killed over 500 people, including women and even small children. The failure to implement UN resolutions has emboldened Israel. It threatened to drag the entire Middle East into a war whose consequences could be very grave and beyond imagination. Similarly, like the people of Palestine, the people of Jammu and Kashmir too have struggled for a century for their freedom and right to self-determination. Instead of moving towards peace, India has resiled from its commitments to implement the Security Council resolution on Jammu and Kashmir. These resolutions mandate a plebiscite to enable the people of Jammu and Kashmir to exercise their fundamental right to self-determination. Ladies and gentlemen, since the 5th of August 2019, India has initiated unilateral illegal steps to impose what its leaders ominously call a final solution for Jammu and Kashmir. Day in and day out, 900,000 Indian troops terrorize the people of occupied Jammu and Kashmir with draconian measures including curfews, extrajudicial killings, and the abduction of thousands of young Kashmiris. At the same time, in a classic settler colonial project, India is seizing Kashmiri lands and properties and settling outsiders into occupied Jammu and Kashmir in their nefarious design to transform the Muslim majority into a minority. This hackneyed tactic is employed by all occupying powers, but it has always failed. In Jammu and Kashmir too, it shall fail by the grace of God. Ladies and gentlemen, the Kashmiri people are resolute in rejection of the false Indian identity. The New Delhi seeks to impose upon them very, very severe conditions, and atrocities are being committed every hour. India's policy of brutal coercion and oppression in occupied Kashmir has ensured that Burhan Wani's legacy continues to inspire the struggle and sacrifices of millions of Kashmiris. Inspired by the legitimacy of their epic struggle, they remain defiant. Their heart-wrenching stories remind us that behind every statistic lies a human life, a dream deferred, and a hope shattered. Even more worryingly, it is engaged in massive expansion of its military capabilities, which are essentially deployed against Pakistan. Its war doctrines envisage a surprise attack and a limited war under the nuclear overhang. Thoughtlessly, India has spurned Pakistan's proposals for a mutual strategic restraint regime. Its leadership has often threatened to cross the line of control and take over Azad Kashmir. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. President, let me state in no uncertain terms that Pakistan will respond most decisively to any Indian aggression. Therefore, to secure durable peace, India must reverse the unilateral and illegal measures it has taken since 5th of August 2019 and enter into a dialogue for a peaceful resolution of the Jammu and Kashmir dispute in accordance with the UN security resolutions and the wishes of the Kashmiri people. Mr. President, remember, illegal occupation creates a fresh hell every day in the killing fields of Palestine and in the pristine valleys of occupied Jammu and Kashmir. Apart from conflicts, Mr. President, the 21st century has brought a cascade of crises, including the reversal of development and the mounting impact of climate change. 2 years ago, my country was devastated by catastrophic floods, causing $30 billion in damages. It is now clear that each summer will bring blistering temperatures and trigger fresh climate impacts. Pakistan emits less than 1% of global carbon emissions. Yet, we have paid a very heavy price for no fault of ours. This is most unfair in any calculus of global justice. We must uphold the axiom, the polluter must pay. Ladies and gentlemen, Pakistan looks forward to fulfillment of commitments made by our development partners to support the achievements of the SDGs and climate goals, including a new annual goal beyond $100 billion in climate finance. Mr. President, with nearly 100 developing countries trapped in the vicious cycle of debt and liquidity crisis, which I always call a death trap rather than debt trap, achieving the SDGs in these circumstances remain a distant mirage. The international financial architecture, which the Secretary General has described as morally bankrupt, and the world trade and technology regimes must be reformed and aligned to promote development and global equity. Mr. President, since assuming office in March this year, the progress and prosperity of my 240 million people has been my singular focus. We have taken some very difficult but necessary decisions that have rescued our economy from collapse, restored macroeconomic stability, controlled fiscal deficits, and strengthened our reserves. As a result, inflation has come down to a single digit by the grace of God, and the prospects for economic growth has revived. I would like to explain this challenge and the way we are negotiating, Mr. President, by reciting a stanza from a poem which enormously makes me very emboldened, very brave, and hardworking, and commit untiring efforts. And this stanza is a befitting example of hard work and, of course, facing challenges and then pave the way for success stories. And stanza is, when things go wrong, as they sometimes will, when things go wrong, as they sometimes will, when the road you are trudging is all uphill, when things go wrong, as they sometimes will, when the road you are trudging seems all uphill, when the credits are low and debts are high, when the credits are low and debts are high, when you want to smile, but you have to sigh. When you want to smile, you have to sigh. When care, read health. When care is pressing you down a bit, when care or health is pressing you down a bit, rest if you must, but don't you quit. This is how, Mr. President, we have learned to face our challenges and negotiate the most daunting challenges we have faced. Mr. President, situated at the crossroads of South and Central Asia and the Middle East, we have prioritized geoeconomics and regional connectivity to secure win-win outcomes for our people. The second phase of the landmark China-Pakistan Economic Corridor has been successfully launched through the APEX Special Investment Facilitation Council. We are mobilizing investments in resilient infrastructure, renewable energy, minerals, sustainable agriculture, and technology. This will herald a new era of development and modernization in my beloved country. Ladies and gentlemen, for 2 decades, Pakistan has fought terrorism boldly and most successfully, defeating terrorist groups within Pakistan. We have paid a very heavy price. 80,000 of our brave soldiers and civilians have been martyred, including innocent school-going children. And the gory memories of APS school carnage haunt us till date. Our economy has suffered a loss of $150 billion. Unfortunately, today we are again confronted by a new wave of externally financed and sponsored terrorism, especially by the TTP, Fitna al-Khawarij, and its associates. Ladies and gentlemen, make no mistake, inshallah, by the grace of God, we are determined to eliminate this threat as well through our comprehensive national effort by the name of Azm-e-Istehkam, meaning resolve to promote peace and stability. And we will work collectively with the international community to combat all forms of terrorism and reform the global counter-terrorism architecture. Mr. President, Pakistan seeks the earliest possible normalization of the situation in Afghanistan. We join the UN's appeal for $3 billion in humanitarian assistance to the millions of suffering Afghan brothers and sisters. At the same time, we endorse and share the international expectations that the Afghan interim government would respect human rights, including the rights of women and girls, and promote political inclusion. In particular, the interim government must take effective action to neutralize all terrorist groups within Afghanistan, especially those responsible for cross-border terrorism against neighboring countries. These include ISIL-K, Daesh, the Al-Qaeda associated TTP, Fitna al-Khawarij, Majid Brigade, the BLA, and other terrorist groups which unfortunately are seen on Afghan territory. Mr. President, another troubling global development is the escalation of Islamophobia, which is now manifested by frequent desecrations of the Holy Quran, attacks on mosques, negative stereotyping of Muslims, and acts of discrimination and violence against them. The most alarming manifestation of Islamophobia is the Hindu supremacist agenda in India. It aggressively seeks the subjugation of 200 million Muslims and the obliteration of India's Islamic heritage. Pakistan and the OIC will work with the UN Secretary General and envoy to implement a plan of action to combat this scourge. Ladies and gentlemen, Pakistan seeks an immediate end to the tragic conflict in Ukraine and its peaceful resolution in accordance with the UN Charter and international agreements. Ladies and gentlemen, Pakistan has a long, proud history of solidarity, friendship, and cooperation with the nation of Africa. We will continue to cooperate with them to counter terrorism and resolve regional conflicts, including through UN peacekeeping and peace building in the region. Finally, Mr. President, as we leave this august hall, we must carry with us a message for our people that the weak are not voiceless, that the oppressed should not lose hope, that poverty is not preordained, and that Allah Almighty promise of justice and equality in our terrestrial home must be respected. I thank you all and thank you very much for your time. God bless you.
वज़ीर आज़म शहबाज शरीफ ने अक़वाम मुत्तहिदा जनरल असम्बली से खिताब किया। उनके खिताब का पहला हिस्सा फ़लस्तीन, दूसरा हिस्सा कश्मीर, फिर मौसमियाती तब्दीली और दहशतगर्दी के चैलेंज पर मुहित था। दहशतगर्दी से मुतालिक बात करते हुए उन्होंने कहा कि पाकिस्तान फितना अल खवारिज के थ्रेट को जड़ से उखाड़ने के लिए पुरज़्म है। दहशतगर्दी सिर्फ पाकिस्तान ही नहीं बल्कि दुनिया के लिए अहम मसला है। पाकिस्तान में मुआशी आशारिय बेहतर और महंगाई में कमी हुई है। उनकी जानिब से कहा गया कि पायदार तरक्की के हुसूल के लिए मिलकर आलमी इदारों के साथ काम करते रहेंगे। इक़्तिसादी राहदारी के दूसरे मरहले पर काम जारी है। यकीन है CPEC से पाकिस्तान तरक्की की नई राह पर गामजन होगा। वज़ीर आज़म ने कहा, जम्मू और कश्मीर के मजलूम अवाम एक सदी से अपना हक मांग रहे हैं। मसला कश्मीर सलामती काउंसिल के एजेंडे पर मौजूद है। भारतीय जबर के बावजूद कश्मीरी बुरहान वानी के नजरिए को आगे बढ़ा रहे हैं। पाकिस्तान भारत की किसी भी जारहियत का मुंह तोड़ जवाब देगा। भारत के ओछे हथकंडे कभी कामयाब नहीं होंगे। वजीर आजम की जानिब से कहा गया कि भारत 5 अगस्त 2019 को किए गए यकतरफा इक़दामात वापस ले। फलस्तीन की सूरत हाल से मुतालिक वजीर आजम ने कहा कि मसला फलस्तीन का वाहिद हल 2 रियासती फार्मूले में है। 2 रियासती फार्मूले के तहत फलस्तीन में खाको खून का खेल बंद किया जाए। फलस्तीन को फौरी अक़वाम मुत्तहिदा का रुकन तस्लीम किया जाए। वजीर आजम ने यह मुतालिबा भी रखा। उन्होंने सवाल पूछा कि फलस्तीनियों पर मजालिम नजरअंदाज करने वाले क्या इंसान कहलाने के काबिल हैं। गजा में बच्चों के जिंदा दरगोर होने पर दुनिया कब तक खामोश रहेगी। फलस्तीनियों के घर मलबे के ढेर बन गए, दुनिया आंखें कैसे बंद रख सकती है। उन्होंने कहा कि मजम्मत काफी नहीं, बड़े ममालिक हरकत में आए, आगो खून का खेल फौरी बंद कराएं।
और इसराइली वजीर आजम के खिताब के लिए आने पर पाकिस्तानी वफ्द की जानिब से वॉकआउट कर दिया गया है। इससे पहले वजीर आजम शहबाज शरीफ ने खिताब किया और उसके बाद इसराइली वजीर आजम यहाँ पर खिताब के लिए पहुंचे तो पाकिस्तानी वफ्द ने वॉकआउट किया। मनाजिर भी आप देख रहे हैं और इस वक्त के मनाजिर हैं जब पाकिस्तानी वजीर आजम शहबाज शरीफ ने अक़वाम मुत्तहिदा के सेशन से खिताब किया और जब इसराइली वजीर आजम यहाँ पर खिताब के लिए पहुंचे तो पाकिस्तानी वफ्द की जानिब से वॉकआउट किया गया और इसराइली वजीर आजम के खिताब के दौरान जनरल असम्बली में शोर शराबा हुआ। इसराइली वफ्द के आने पर पाकिस्तान की जानिब से वॉकआउट कर दिया गया है। वजीर आजम शहबाज शरीफ का फलस्तीन को फौरी अक़वाम मुत्तहिदा का मेंबर बनाने का मुतालबा भी सामने आया। उन्होंने खिताब भी किया और आलमी मालियाती निज़ाम में इस्लाहात नागुज़ीर हैं, उनकी जानिब से कहा गया। जबकि फ़लस्तीन के हवाले से बात की, अफगानिस्तान के हवाले से बात की और भारत के हवाले से भी बात की। जबकि जब इसराइली वज़ीर आज़म यहाँ पर खिताब के लिए पहुंचे तो पाकिस्तान की जानिब से वॉकआउट किया गया। इसराइली वज़ीर आज़म की जानिब से कहा जा रहा है कि मेरे मुल्क के खिलाफ झूठा प्रोपेगेंडा किया जा रहा है। इस दौरान पाकिस्तान की जानिब से वॉकआउट किया गया है। वज़ीर आज़म शहबाज शरीफ ने फ़लस्तीन को फौरी अक़वाम मुत्तहिदा का मेंबर बनाने का मुतालबा किया है अपनी स्पीच में और जब इसराइली वज़ीर आज़म यहाँ पर पहुंचे तो पाकिस्तान की जानिब से वॉकआउट किया गया।
अक़वाम मुत्तहिदा जनरल असम्बली में सारी सूरत हाल पर न सिर्फ पाकिस्तान बल्कि तुर्क सदर तैयब एर्दोगान, सऊदी वफ़द, इसके अलावा कुवैत की जानिब से भी इसराइल की मजम्मत की गई और सब ने फ़लस्तीन के मसले के हल से मुताल्लिक़ अपने खिताब में बात की। जब इसराइली वज़ीर आज़म यहाँ पहुंचे तो पाकिस्तानी वफ़द ने यहाँ से एहतजाजन वॉकआउट किया और इस वक्त जब इसराइली वज़ीर आज़म बेंजामिन नेतन्याहू अपना मौक़िफ़ फ्लोर ऑफ द हाउस पे रख रहे हैं तो इस बीच यहाँ पर शोर शराबा भी सुनने में आ रहा है, क्योंकि यहाँ पर जो ममालिक मौजूद हैं, सूडान है, अफ्रीकी दीगर ममालिक मौजूद हैं, यूरोपीय ममालिक हैं जिन्होंने फ़लस्तीन को एज ए रियासत एक्सेप्ट किया है, वो भी यहाँ पर अपना एहतजाज रिकॉर्ड करवा रहे हैं। और ये सूरत हाल इस ऐवान के अंदर की है, जबकि मुसलसल न्यूयॉर्क की ये सूरत हाल रही कि जहाँ जहाँ भारतीय वज़ीर आज़म नरेंद्र मोदी या फिर इसराइली वज़ीर आज़म नेतन्याहू की मोबिलिटी रही, जहाँ जहाँ उन्होंने मूव किया, वहाँ वहाँ उन्हें एहतजाज का सामना करना पड़ा है। इस वक्त इसराइली वज़ीर आज़म खिताब कर रहे हैं, अक़वाम मुत्तहिदा जनरल असेंबली में शोर शराबा है और पाकिस्तानी वफ़द ने एहतजाजन वॉकआउट किया है।
खबरें और भी हैं, लेकिन यहाँ वक्त हुआ है एक ब्रेक का।
वेलकम बैक।
और यहाँ पे आपको खबर देंगे, पाकिस्तान को IMF से $7 अरब के कर्ज प्रोग्राम की पहली किस्त मौसूल हो गई है और ज़र मुबादला ज़खायर में IMF से मौसूल रकम 3 अक्टूबर डेटा में शामिल होगी। अंजुम वहाब हमारे साथ मौजूद हैं, उनसे मजीद जानेंगे। बताइएगा अंजुम।
जी बिल्कुल, ये गुज़िश्ता रोज IMF ने जो कर्ज का पाकिस्तान के लिए कर्ज मंजूर किया था, उसकी पहली किस्त $7 अरब की कर्ज की पहली किस्त मौसूल हो गई है। IMF से कर्ज की पहली किस्त $1 अरब 2 करोड़ 69 लाख डॉलर स्टेट बैंक को मुंतकिल हो चुके हैं। पहली किस्त की रकम स्टेट बैंक के ज़र मुबादला के ज़खायर में 3 अक्टूबर के डाटा में शामिल होगी, जबकि गुज़िश्ता हफ्ते जो स्टेट बैंक के मजमूई ज़खायर थे वो पाकिस्तान के 20 सितम्बर तक 14 अरब 90 करोड़ डॉलर के करीब।
बहुत शुक्रिया आपका अपडेट करने के लिए।
बुलेटिन से फिल वक्त इतना है।
मज़ीद खबरों और अपडेट्स के लिए देखते रहिए ARY न्यूज़।